And live. G'day everybody, Scarcely Relevant, still here managing to continue the weeks of no smoking and streaming 4 days a week. The last stream was 5.5 hours, and my God, was that not the best decision possible? But you know what? It was a shitload of fun. So I'm happy with that. Like, if you have fun, then like, isn't that the kind of key thing to it all? Uh, we're just firing off some stuff and bang, message off to that person. Okay, so it has been one hell of a fucking couple of days. um, it we've unfortunately had somebody that I work with end up with an injury to their knee, kind of like bruising around the ligament. So we've ended up one person short on the floor, which has meant that everything that you generally plan when it comes to work and what you're doing for that week kind of got thrown to the wind, but in a somewhat good way. Like, you're not uh, you're not dealing with everything catching on fire. It's just some of the things catching on fire. So importantly, we were able to put out the fires and keep things going, but it just means, you got to try and make some things happen pretty damn quickly. So away from that, it's I doing okay. I'm happy. I'm alive. Things are well, and Australia Day was very uneventful for the rest of it. It was Australia Day, so much like any other public holiday out there, it was hanging out at home, playing some fucking video games. uh, but very interesting to see like some of the news and bits and pieces as it was heading out there. Uh, I'm always amazed by that. Always interested in how people take the news. Sometimes to heart, but I think less to heart. Just I don't know. I suppose it's weird being a little older in that I've seen so many things happen that there's a statement that my wife Wombats in the chat would say, which is don't sweat the petty things and don't pet the sweaty things. It's one of my favorite sayings that she says. But to a degree, a lot of the time it's also like the statement borrowing trouble. People borrow trouble, not in a way that they are being less effective or worrisome or worrying without cause. There's always a reason to worry, and when it comes to money or time or investment or anything else like that, no one can tell you how you feel. Your feelings are valid. But I tend not to worry about those things until they become something that denigrates or changes my experience for the worse. And right now, with everything that's happening in video gaming, I don't see anything actually being worse for me. Now, that could just be my own particular brand of me, which is, I think, well, it's probably best to say that I am a privileged gamer. Yes, privileged. I have much privilege pouring out of my pores. In that I don't worry too much about the cost of games or anything else. It is my hobby, my habit. And even as I stand here talking to people on the internet, I'm playing fucking video games. But I am privileged in that I've decided what I want to do in my life and how I like to enjoy my life. I have made my life suit a way of me being able to engage and indulge in the things that I like. That is That is a very privileged position to be in. But when it comes down to it, I also have never generally worried too much about what happens with business, because it is a very there was an experience I had when I was younger, or younger than I am right now. I've worked in some larger businesses, but a lot of the businesses that I've worked in have been, I started in a family business. I now currently work in what you would say is a family business. It's my father and I. But I've worked for some bigger companies as well. But it's not the companies that I've worked for, it's the companies that I've worked with that have taught me a lot about how to consider the way video gaming is, and how companies work when they are so much bigger than what you can comprehend. So there was a project that I was working on that a friend of mine had basically taken on. They were a designer and an IT technician who was designing a large-scale infrastructure system for a large data server for a company that he couldn't name for me while I was helping him, which generally means that you if you don't know who you're working for, or you don't know who the project is for, because they can tell you the first company's name, they can tell you the second company's name, but they can't tell you the company above that's name, it generally means that it's a very big stage project or process. And when it came down to that, there were issues with some of the design elements that we were handling. A lot of IT equipment goes into 19-inch rack systems with a certain spacing of RUs between the racks, and they wanted a particular amount of these, like, let's just put it at a number. They wanted a 26 RU rack. So that is a very specific size. And they wanted it to fit inside a very specific space, like a very specific cabinet. That cabinet had only enough room for that if we changed something on the actual cabinets that all of this stuff was being installed in. We didn't make the cabinets. We didn't, we weren't responsible for the cabinets. We were just being asked to make something to fit inside these cabinets and to fit all of these items in these cabinets in the way that they wanted. When we were saying, well, we need to modify these cabinets, you cannot fit like 26 RUs of space, has a certain amount of space needed, and then you have to have air draw and flow through it. You have to have a certain amount of venting for your equipment. That, the understandable, reasonable aspects. Everyone up and down the line were, when we presented the issues, they asked us, were we able to change things this way or that way, bringing good suggestions forward. Like, none of these people were idiots or dismissive of our concerns. They recognized them and went, is there a way around it that you've thought of? And our response would be, no, this would be the quickest and simplest solution to be able to resolve this problem. And it would keep things inside a cost that everyone has said we cannot go over, fits inside the scope. So you work to that. First company, right. Second, right. Third. Okay. Then we get to the fourth company, which is the big company. And, well, it's been long enough. I'd be able to say it was a company that was then working with Microsoft on a very specific rollout of a product. Now, this company, when we presented everything to them, this was the first time that we had somebody go, well, I can't, I understand what you're saying, but I can't make that decision because there's other people involved here. They need to sign off on what you're saying, what you're like. I can't make that decision. So then we go all the way up to the top person, or my friend does. I go along to be the, the person who can kind of go, well, yes, we could do this. No, we couldn't do that inside specific scope for design and manufacture. So we deal with all of this, and the representative from Microsoft, when it came to this issue, they're not there to deal with a problem of the cabinets. It wasn't really their problem because they're just people involved in the larger structure that this was all going into. It's their thing, so they wanted to know what was happening. So this person from Microsoft asked the questions, same thing. We walk through it, and they go, well, if we were to instead just what would the difference be in getting rid of these cabinets and buying the next size up cabinets that would be able to fit all of this in with no problems, with no modifications, or to redesign them and remanufacture them from scratch to fit exactly what we want if we were to change the spec to this. And then they give me a whole bunch of dimensions, and we kind of look at it and go, well, that's only this much extra material. The timeline to manufacture these things is this long. The timeline to fabricate these things is this long. Like it was pretty easy, and we were pretty confident in saying that we would be able to make this happen, and it would, it would work reasonably well. But the number that we quoted was 7 figures. Thinking about it, it was in the tens of millions of dollars, and not just 10 or 12. We're talking tens of millions. We're talking many tens of millions. And this person went, that's no problem. Look, go ahead, start the order, start the design. And we kind of stop and go, okay, well, we're happy enough to go ahead with that. But all of these other companies that are involved, they're our contacts. They're the ones who've brought us into you. They're the ones who pay us. We need them to sign off on it. And that's, that's a big investment of money for these guys. We're happy to go ahead with it, but we have to respect the process here. They're the ones who are going to be paying us, not you. So instead of everything kind of stopping and then people getting involved, all we had, g'day turtles, how are we doing? So instead of having what I'm used to with a lot of large businesses, which is everybody goes, oh, money people, we're going to have to sit these down, work these things out. This person from Microsoft, in their ownership, their capacity of this project, basically turned to the company that they were directly dealing with, who had brought them in, that they had this agreement with and were working on, and just went, we'll cover everything involved. You give the sign-offs and just tell us what we need to put in there. We want this to stay on schedule. The schedule at this point was 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And that was with cabinets that had already been manufactured and installed. So it was 6 weeks to then redesign these cabinets to a specification that had just been slid across the table to us. And we go, shit, we're going to have to contact, or my friend is like, oh, holy shit, I'm going to have to contact, our guys who do the cutting and the welding and everything else for us and see if they can fit this in. oh my God, this is going to cost us a shitload of money. But this guy from the other company involved with Microsoft went, look, you just tell them it's on our account, like we're paying for it, and we will pay for it to be rushed. Just name their price, get it done. That's what dealing with multi-billion-dollar and trillion-dollar corporations is like. When they want something done, they will make it happen. And nothing about how you see the world or how things are today is going to stop them from saying, no, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do this, because they will make it happen. So with all of this news and all of this hullabaloo about, oh, there's not going to be any consoles, or Microsoft's a third-party publisher or anything like that. No. It really isn't. Because if they want out, they will make it clear and obvious. However, in all of my years of dealing with larger businesses and corporations, the one thing you cannot, under any circumstances, get back once it's broken is invested trust being broken. Why do you think Xbox created and did the backwards compatibility system for the original Xbox One? Why is it backwards compatible? Yes, Turtles, I am talking about that in the... I understand everybody's position of worrying about things. Oh my God, why would they even bother with hardware? Why would they do this? Why would they do that? I get it, but to any degree, I keep thinking about why the discussion ends up being so bitten into, oh, they're just going to abandon everything. Larger companies like that, if Apple broke your trust and shared every piece of information that you ever had, they've had hacks, no doubt about it. But if Apple were to lose everything you had ever given them, and it was posted on the internet for everybody to see, every dirty little secret you've ever had on your iPhone was released, a lot of people's trust would be broken. A lot of people would go away from Apple, but they would not be held that accountable by the customers because it's something outside of their control. However, if Apple were to, in 3 days' time, go, we have found that the iPhone is now no longer profitable for us under any circumstances, there is no way for it to make us enough money, it is not worth it. Every app you've ever bought on the App Store, every movie you've ever bought, every TV show, you no longer own it. We're closing those accounts and we're fucking off into the ether. That is a breach of trust. Having trust breached depends on where it comes from. If the company has it occur and they deal with it, customers are willing to give them that. Yeah, you are exactly right, OMG Turtles. His comment is, the original Xbox was created because Gates wanted a Microsoft hub in every living room. It's the same mission in some respects, just the console isn't needed now, still the same mission. Yes, and that's the thing. A lot of people forget that when you really dial in on it, it is still in. It's not just in every living room. It's that it's now in every phone. It's available on every device, because those devices have become the impact points instead of an element of your house. You don't have one device that does the specific things inside your home. Like, if you want to write a text document, a computer's great, but I know that I've had to write off a massive business email. I've done it on my phone while laying in bed because I'm like, I am fucking exhausted and I need to lay down. I actually think out of everybody who's listening or potentially follows, everyone's going to have that point where you're just like, you are laying in bed, you've gotten up in the morning, there's a work email there, and you're like, oh, I should probably get up and answer this. But you end up just being like, nah, I'm just going to lay here in bed and I'm going to answer this work email. And no one's going to be the wiser as to the fact that I am laying here stark ass naked in my bed, enjoying my morning. No one has to know. And it's fine. No one can tell. And that, I think, is also part of the thing. Everybody considers that gaming is defined and driven by those who are playing all the time. Not really. It's becoming more and more not just about the idea of a casual gamer, but the idea of a new gamer. The new gamer is important because they're the ones who are coming in and going, holy shit, this is cool. They don't have decades or years of prior experience, prior knowledge, prior, I was going to say biases, but it could potentially be biases, all of that. All of those elements are now being driven and thrown away in the search for new customers because they're the people who are willing to give something a shot. Can you, like, in looking at all things with honesty, is there much in the way of current day gamers, people who are in gaming right now, being willing to say that they're wrong or go, oh yeah, I did judge that game without giving it a fair shake. Maybe I should have, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should play this. Maybe I've judged it too harshly. Maybe I wasn't in the right headspace. No, a lot of people don't do that. So to be told that gaming's changing or that things are changing and that you're not going to lose anything, no one trusts that anymore. Because I think people are too used to the idea of the other shoe dropping and that they're going to lose something. Fear of loss always drives more than fear of loss of opportunity. Like, those are the two things. If you want somebody to do something or to work in a particular way, you work on the fear of loss, which sucks because that does really drive people a bit nuts. Okay, so Turtles brings up, why do you think it's so hard for the consoles to find what we would call traditional players? See, that's a tough one. I'm willing to say, I don't know why it's so hard, but I can understand the difficulty in trying to find new traditional gamers because the games that those players start off in are not a platformer. They're not a Sonic or a Mario. It's like, you have to really look at the games that have that zeitgeist moment and then realize that works to a particular demographic. Like, the Nintendo Switch sold gangbusters during COVID because of Animal Crossing. People saw that and were like, fuck yes, gonna get my cozy little house on. And people started playing Animal Crossing because they could control something in a small. It was the perfect game for the perfect moment in uh, in the brilliance of its simple design, and also it was an experience that allowed people to feel that there was a sense of normality when they're dealing with a unprecedented occurrence in in the world. Who knows if it becomes more precedented? We will only find out in time. Um, but that was a more traditional gaming experience that then hit that zeitgeist, and it created the brilliance of that moment. Oh, you got to go answer emails and make a call. I'll be listening in the background and keep popping in. Oh, I appreciate that, Turtles. I will try and keep my train of thought firmly on the rails. I make no promises. I tend to derail often and quickly. But COVID created a buffer, uh, I think is the best way to put it, of some traditional gamers where people had time and energy to spare to be able to throw towards trying something new. And generally in the past, prior to that, you think about the Zeitgeist games, um, there was PUBG, but how many people do you know have jumped into a first person shooter as a first gaming experience, or an experience where they're like, oh, that looks like fun. I want to try that. Because PUBG, COD, they kind of build off a previous knowledge or a previous understanding. Then the element further from that then kind of dials into Fortnite and other games as a service. So then from there, you've got the branching off of standard FPS games that have now created further zeitgeist where it comes to the, um, what would you call them? Games like Dead by Daylight, the asynchronous multiplayer games hit a cultural zeitgeist, and then games like what is it? Paranormia. It's the paranormal game on Steam where you hunt ghosts and finds little bits and pieces. Like, those games can be played single player or co-op, but it's all about an experience and it's a little bit of puzzle. But it brings down the stakes of what you can lose, what you can gain. It isn't based around being the fastest on Twitch. It's about paying attention to your environment and exploring ideas. Like, you are presented problems where there is one solution. You just need to find out what the solution is by eliminating all of the potential options. So going, okay, is it, is it a ghost? No, it doesn't walk through walls. Okay. And then as you walk through those potential options, you then create, like, it creates a zeitgeist, but it changes the dynamic of how you engage with the game world. When the stakes are lower, people are more willing to give it a shot. And that's why the PUBG and Fortnite Battle Royale worked so well in the moment that it hit, because free to play, no kind of step in and having a cost to your first moment in there. That works in your favor. It works very well in your favor. But there's, to find new traditional players, there needs to be the cost barrier needs to come down for people to be willing to try those things. And I think right now it is less that there are no gamers out there who want to play on Game Pass or cloud or anything else. There's there's no potential customers. It's that the potential customers, there always has to come that point where a zeitgeist game hits. I noticed to a degree that Indiana Jones started to have that over Christmas, where people, like, larger questions were being asked. Oh my God, there's, you know, this reviewer, I think it was mentioned by John and Jesse on the Xbox Era headlines episode from earlier this week. This is the week of the 29th of the 1st, 2025, in case we're dating this. I believe it was the episode from the 27th or 28th, where they talked about that the cloud gaming is getting better and that it's almost hitting a point where people are able to use it to play and review games who don't have that hardware. So from that, I believe it was John had mentioned that there was a reviewer in the UK who had played through Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on cloud, because that was the cheapest and easiest way for him to be able to gain access to the game and play something that he had seen and had been told by his editor, like, hey, you should check this out. This is a new Indiana Jones. Why, like, could we spare some cycles? Look at this. Like, there might be something here. Now, that person played the game, gave it a pretty damn good review, but also never mentioned anything from the experience about it being subpar or about it being any lag or issues. They were talking about the game because the game was the thing that brought them there, and the game is what is important. That, I think, is where the new traditional gamers are going to come from. But they're only going to come there when something presents itself in a way where they feel that they are missing out if they don't engage. That is something that, unfortunately, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, Steam, Valve, EA, no matter the company, no matter the brand, no one out there can fucking call. And I call bullshit on any analyst out there who has the confidence, the fucking stones to come up to me and tell me this game that has no history, no nothing, is going to be a hit. I guarantee it. It will sell X amount of million copies, especially from like a pitch point or earlier in development. No, I call bullshit, because you can never be certain. Even the most capable producers and developers out there have thought that they've been on a winner and have gotten it entirely wrong, where, you know, their head rolls at the end of production because they're the person who is saying, yeah, we should invest an extra $10 million and another 6 months of dev time into this game. I think it's an absolute winner, and I think it's going to be the greatest thing possible. Like, not to put too fine a point on it, Concord's one of the most recent examples, but there are others out there. Those moments happen, and it sucks for everyone involved, because, you know, it basically kills off, it kills off potential and possibility and opportunity. But for for more new traditional gamers to come in, it's going to be about a zeitgeist game. It is going to be one of these games that is coming up from one of the platforms. One of those games is going to hit, and that will drive people where the internet articles, the guys like Jez Corden from Windows Central and other people, Tom Warren and Tom Henderson, like all of the gaming journalists out there who cover the industry are going to be writing the SEO articles out there that will be a very simple, very simple article, but incredibly effective, and it understands the algorithm, which just says, hey, let's say it's that Gears of War E-Day is Game of the Year, 10 out of 10. It releases in early November, and it is a absolute banger. It wipes it wipes out every other game. It is the game to play. People are picking up Xboxes to buy it. The SEO articles that are going to be written when the game comes out and reviews that well is going to be the simple question and a headline article of, how can I play Gears of War E-Day? And here's the thing. It will be like, I've seen Jez Corden write these articles. They're incredibly effective, and they must get great traffic, because the simplicity of it is saying you can play Gears of War E-Day. If you have an Xbox, you can get it on Game Pass for for $20 a month. You can get access to Game Pass Ultimate. That gives you access to the game day one when it releases on November 5th. There is also the option, if you don't own an Xbox, but you have a reasonable PC that fits to these specifications or better, you can get Game Pass PC and play it on there. If you don't have a PC, then you can, but you've got a phone, you've got a tablet that's Android or Apple, or just a really crap kind of laptop, but it can open an Edge browser, jump into Game Pass, stream it on the cloud. Or you can get it on PlayStation 5 for $70 retail, or you can buy it physical for this device at $70 retail. It will be those articles there. And it will be the people who look at it and go, well, I don't have an Xbox. I've got a place. Oh, it's not out on PlayStation until like 6 months later. But I want to play this now. Oh, I've got a phone. I could just use this xCloud thing, right? Okay, $20. Oh, hey, they're giving me a free month of it, or 14 days of it. They jump in. They're not somebody who looks at the speeds and feeds of a game. They can't look at a screen and tell you whether it's 30, 60, or 120. Hell, even my eyes find it hard sometimes. But those things, those moments are the things that will then drive someone to go, hey, this isn't too bad. Those zeitgeist games, that will be the thing that changes an entire dynamic about how people see cloud gaming and how you get new players into traditional gaming, or to become traditional players. It is always about an entry point that allows you to feel like you haven't lost anything in trying, but you've gained something in what they've offered you. And that also kind of comes back to a topic. I think it was one of the first streams that I ever did. I talked about Randall Thor, and that he brought up what I think is a fantastic point. value isn't sexy. And he's right. Value is not sexy. If you want to sell a sexy product, you do not go with this is the most affordable product on the market. No. You go, this product will make your dick look like it's 12 inches long. This product will make you look like a fucking supermodel. This product will make you buff and lean, and you know, people will throw themselves, they will prostrate themselves in front of you. Not prostate, prostrate. I said the fucking word right. They will prostrate themselves in front of you in all of your glory, in all of your magnificence. That's how you sell products. You sell this idea, this incredible, amazing thing on it doing anything and everything for the customer, so much that it drives them to go, well, I have to get this. It doesn't matter how much it costs. I have to get this. This thing is fucking amazing. But that's how it used to work. People are a lot more cognizant and capable of recognizing bullshit when it's whispered in their ear. And it comes from also the way that we've all had advertising just pull the wool over our eyes. If there were more people in chat, if there, for people in chat, like, everybody has to have that moment where you're like, oh wow, I looked into this thing and this looks really great and I'm going to buy it. You buy it, you get home, you try it, and you realize that it is not the thing that there is a very stark difference between what you were sold and what you were expecting, that those two things didn't align properly. And those experiences, I know for me personally, if I buy something and it isn't exactly what I thought it was, that I've been sold a bill of faulty goods, that will make me never use a brand or a company again, especially if in their presentation of fact that I feel like they have obfuscated the truth for me to see what they wanted me to see, not what I was actually getting. If Wombats was here, she would be able to attest. I am somebody who finds it very difficult to spend money on myself. Like, if you needed me to spend money on Wombats, like to buy her something, you could not even stop me. I throw money at Wombats because I'm willing to get the best and greatest things for her. She is my amazing partner, and I want the best for her. But when it comes to myself, I am such a penny pincher and a thrift that I will look at things and run them until they are threadbare. The amount of socks that have had to have been thrown away by people around me because I've worn holes in them, in the toes, in the heels, but I refuse to get rid of them because I'm like, they still function as a sock. Like, oh yes, Turtles brings up a very good point. A lot of it is the customer service afterwards for me. If the company gets too defensive over this product, that stops me going back. That is a really good point. How a company is willing to treat the customer after the purchase. If there's no respect for the customer after the purchase because they go, well, you've bought it. If you don't like it, that's not my fucking problem. You bought the thing. You should buy better. Like, the potential for a customer doesn't stop at the point of purchase. In fact, it continues going for years after that. Like, I know even for myself, or products that I build and I put out there through our own business, there have been people who have put in warranty claims for products that they say were damaged in transit. And when they send us the photos of those items, it is obvious for the damage to the item that it was not in the box that it was being shipped in. The box has no damage to it, yet the item that they're showing in there has damage to it. So that tells me that the item was outside the box when it was damaged, which probably means that you dropped it after you opened the box. At that point, you know, on principle, you should say, no, fuck you. Like, it's obvious that you pulled this out of the box and dropped it on the corner. It's damaged. That's it. But that isn't the right thing. I know it's a hit for the business and everything else, but I've been shown and told, and it's worked every single time, the best thing in a moment like that isn't about that you're right and they're wrong. It's about to make the customer happy, to help them get through a problem. If a customer has bought something from you and has come back to you with an issue, the choice is, do I want them as a continuing customer, or do I want to burn the potential of a future purchases, future work, future anything with them? You can sometimes just, you can go, no, fuck it. It's a $20 thing, but it's not about the $20 thing. For the customer, they've spent $20. They've gone to get a product, and they've have an issue. It's on you whether you decide to try and help them through that issue, or whether you feel that it is not your problem, not your ducks, not your circus. That's a statement I use a lot. Ducks and circuses. I know it's generally not my monkeys, not my circus, but I prefer ducks. Ducks are a more interesting creature to think of running circus or causing problems at a circus. In moments like that, I think it's better to help a customer out and go, I know that this isn't my problem. I know that you know this isn't my problem, but you're just trying to find a solution because something's gone wrong and you are having a rough day. You're trying to resolve something that fucked up bad. I get that, and I respect that. If somebody comes forward and goes, hey man, we fucked this up and, you know, and drop this, would you be able to help me out? Yes, I can. If that same customer then just proceeds to bullshit me and go, no, it arrived like this, and you look at it and go, did it really? Like, I can see it didn't, but I'm just going to help you out this once. No problem. You still help the customer out. You deal with it. That after customer experience, I think, is actually one of those things that is missing a little bit in today's world, because there is the feeling that there are ultimately so many other customers, you know, that no one singular customer is worth all that arseache. And it's the, I'm trying to think of what you would call it, but it's like the Yelp review system, where people are more scared about what someone is going to say about a server or a restaurant or an experience after the fact, because it then, oh wow, okay, so Turtles has just said, I've provided great customer service before and got the same person to follow us on Facebook and share our posts for months after. See, that's an incredible aspect of how the social media and community engagement, that it isn't just about, in a sense, customer service. It is like, it can be a little bit wanky or pretentious to say, but a guy who worked at like EB Games when the Dreamcast was coming out, he was just a manager at the local store, but he was a really nice, honestly cool person. He taught me a lot in a sense of how to understand how a lot of the gaming business worked, how all of these things worked, long before I had finished high school. But he said that an aspect to how he had learnt to be a salesperson, be a manager, and work every day with customers was, if you're working for a particular business or brand or group, you have to make a fan before you make a customer. And I thought that was a really weird way to think about it until I understood and he explained what he was really saying. I was thinking, like, you want them to be a fan of you before they buy anything from you? And he's like, no, no, no. You need to make them a fan of what it is you're selling. You need to bring their investment into what you provide, because that's the thing they really want. You're just the person who gives them the thing that they want, but you have to sell them on the thing that they want first. If somebody comes in and is immediately like, I want 5 of those up on the shelf, you're not doing anything. You're just, that person has a desire, you're fulfilling that desire. That's the end of the relationship. Nothing else is going to happen from there. Like, that person isn't going to be following you on Facebook and sharing posts, because they're coming in and getting something just done. I want this, you sell me this, I have this. You know, this, I made this. Sorry. But when somebody comes in and they want to learn about the very thing that you sell or that you provide, whether it's a service or a product, it is then what you're doing is providing them with something, and you're providing them with knowledge and understanding and a confidence that everything that you've just told them, and that all of the information that you've given is honest and true, and that you are there to help them make the best decision for them. If you are trying to inform them and get them to make the best decision for you, which is to buy the products that you sell that you get a commission on, customers are now a lot more wary. They understand that when you railroad them, if they ask for what are the benefits of this product, what are the benefits of that product, you know, could I just leave it alone and not touch this again, and I'll look back at it in 5 years. If you don't take those things and give an honest answer and be like, well, say it's water heaters. If that person's coming to you and saying, well, we had this water heater installed 10 years ago when the house was built, and we're finding that like, the hot water's fine, it's just a little slow to get through the pipes. So they're asking you about a new water heater. Is that going to solve the problem? You as a water heater salesman, and maybe you've got a bit of a plumbing background. If you say to the person, well, you could change the water heater all you want, which could raise the temperature of that water so that the water, when it flows through, it's hotter quicker, but it's still going to take a certain amount of time to get through the pipes. And if it's winter, it's it's going to take a little longer. If you're honest in a moment like that and go, you probably don't need a new water heater, what could help you is to potentially do X or Y or Z. Or before you jump in the shower, turn the hot water on your basin to hot, because that will start to draw the hot water through the system towards where the junctions for the hot water for your shower is. So if you do that and let that water run for about 10 seconds before you then jump in the shower, the hot water is already going to be pulled 90% of the way to the shower, because it's already starting to come through the basin. Now, you've just saved that customer potentially $300, $400, $500, $600. What happens from there, though, is the customer goes, oh, wow. They go home, they try that and go, holy shit, he was right. I don't need a new water heater. It's, you know, it's physics, it's flow dynamics. It's a simpler solution for a problem that they were trying to solve. In that, if something ever goes wrong, that customer is always going to think of you when it comes to the water heaters or that plumbing solution, because they are going to recognize that I came to you with a problem that you could have sold a solution to me on, Instead, you explained the problem and explained a solution without charging me or deciding how you could best extract money from me. Half the time, customers are people who have problems and they want a solution. That solution can be as simple as, my problem is I don't have a copy of God of War Ragnarok. I want you to sell me a copy of God of War Ragnarok. You work at the store, you have a copy of God of War Ragnarok, you hand it to that person, they give you money. That is the problem. It is very simple. It is solved. Here's how it's very different right now for everything with the current changes in how Xbox is looking at things. Everybody considers that a console or a platform or any of these platforms, they must have games that can only be played on there because that's how it's always been. Now, the problem is you don't sell more copies of those games until you... Hey, we got Bubby Kai here. The comment from Bubby Kai. Too true. I see it all the time. A good customer will go out of their way once you've shown you've had their best interests in mind. They're just too much to type to have a discussion I'm satisfied with, but I'll say I'm excited for the future of Xbox and the next gen devices. I think I can see where Xbox is trying to go with it. Yes, like you've perfectly kind of jumped onto it, Bubby. Like, that's the thing. I see this as serving a customer. Now, everything has been that Xbox or Microsoft are only meant to service the Xbox customers, and Sony service the Sony customers, and Nintendo service the Nintendo customers, and Steam services a larger customer group by just being a singular ingestion point. Then they're not really providing the solution. The solution was provided long ago with the Steam, like the Steam platform as a shop. They're also not solving the problems. They're just making it easy for the exchanges of goods and services with money to get what you want. Steam doesn't sell the product. They leave that to the people who make the product to sell the product. They're just the marketplace. So here's one of those things where this is where I see a lot of the confusion in how to approach these things. Microsoft is saying that there is a bigger problem, that the games are not ending up in the hands of gamers. That instead of being, we have games for customers, and Sony has games for Sony customers, Nintendo for Nintendo customers. Microsoft is, or Xbox is trying to go, we have games for every gamer. Now, to put that in the hands of every gamer, it has to be available to every gamer. Not every gamer has something Xbox made. Oh, you retracted the message. Okay. The Xbox approach right now is to really look at it and go, you know what? There are a whole bunch that was incomplete. Oh, okay. Yeah, oh, damn. I thought that might have been better than the... no, it's all right, Bubby Kai. You type out as you want. Like, whenever it pops up, I will happily read it out. Xbox right now is going, there is whole runs of customers, there are whole runs of gamers who that they can reach and they can provide products to. Now, OMG Total says they have to become a third-party publisher if they want to attract everyone, in my opinion. That is true. However, this is the side to it that I think is going to be the most interesting of this. And it's something that a lot of people have dismissed, but it's a harder thing to do. But as I started with the stream, when I was talking about bigger companies can take swings and challenges in a very different way to how everybody else approaches. We look at things at this level, and Microsoft's the level of goatsy is off the camera charts. Now, there are a whole run of customers out there for Xbox. They can get customers across every platform, every single one of them. They're already available on PC. Now they're putting stuff onto PlayStation and more stuff onto Switch. With that, the beauty is those customers are then going to go, holy crap, here's great games. And the one thing that is going to be the key to it all is that they're going to look at these games, and all of these games are going to have Xbox Game Studios, Activision, Xbox Game Studios, Xbox Game Publishing, Activision, Blizzard, King, Bethesda, ZeniMax. But these are all going to be inside a big, chunky little... Oh, we've got a first-time chat from a bot. Cheap viewers on streamboo.com. And then inside brackets, remove this space and a code. Oh, would you look at that? You, my friend, are going to be reported. Should I report them from terrorism? Oh, I definitely need to. I can definitely report them as terrorism. And we've got DJ Fart Blaster on Twitch saying, I'm my own cheap viewer. Yes, he is. I've made it. Yes, I have my own spam viewers. Pop the champagne. I would if I drank. So, yeah, for where I'm going with it, right now, if Microsoft and Xbox are putting all of their games onto Switch and PlayStation, the one thing that you will start to see is, much like the branding of this is an Xbox, you are then going to start having uniformity in branding on Xbox games appearing on different platforms. When you boot up into the Switch copy of Call of Duty, whenever that hits, I think instead of it just being Activision or Activision Publishing or anything, it is going to be Activision, and underneath it, you're going to have Xbox Studios, Activision Publishing, or Activision Development, or that it's going to be Raven Studios or Sledgehammer Studios, an Xbox Game Studio. You are going to start seeing Xbox become the key point about highlighting and going, these games are from us. As those games are hitting the platform, what you are doing is you are saying to these customers, we provide great experiences. Like, these games come from us. They're not from Nintendo. They're not from PlayStation. They're from us. They're from Xbox. And what that does is you are doing, consider Xbox games on an Xbox console right now and on Game Pass for PC. There are benefits. They add more to the game. Like, we talk about games as a service. There is even something past the idea of games as a service. There is the ongoing support. Games like State of Decay 2 didn't need to have nearly 4.5 years of additional development, but it did without cost. They only released one expansion, which was Heartland. Hold on. I think I actually have it on here. No, I do not. Damn, that's disappointing. The State of Decay 2 expansion was released, but it was only like $20. If that is the only ongoing cost when they spent years updating the game, improving it, improving the visuals, improving the performance, adding new difficulty levels, adding new features, all of these things increase the value of the game. Now that game goes into a Switch or a PlayStation and starts making fans of the game. Then people are going to look at who makes the game and they will go, Xbox makes this game. But it's still here on my PlayStation. That's great. That's awesome. And here's where the long play comes in. So for anybody watching, I'm sorry, this has been very long-winded, but it's almost like the train of thought is there, and I'm just trying to get to where it needs to be. So let's jump ahead to 2028, 2029. New consoles are out there, or new consoles are being announced coming out. Now, everybody's playing a lot of live service games. And the games that have... So Doom the Dark Ages has come out. Perfect Dark has come out. We have Gears of War E-Day. We have more Call of Duty games. All of these things have come out. Now, the next PlayStation gets announced. The next Xbox console gets announced. For everybody who's been playing on PlayStation, how many people at the turn of a new console cycle are going to be going back and going, I want to play God of War Ragnarok. I want to play Horizon Forbidden West. I want to play these games that I played or that were released 5, 6, 7 years ago. No, it will be about what are the games I'm currently playing and can I play them on my next console, like the PlayStation 6 or the next Xbox. So it will be the obvious ones. It will be Call of Duty, Warzone. It will be Fortnite. It will be Minecraft. It will be Roblox, Apex Legends, and so on and so forth. Those games are going to be on the next PlayStation and Xbox and Switch. Yes. But for a PlayStation gamer, if they've been playing a whole lot of Xbox games and they're going, oh, damn it, you know, I have to go with a PlayStation. That's where my library is. Like all of these games that I've been playing recently, like Doom the Dark Ages and Perfect Dark and Fable and this and that. I bought them all on my PlayStation. Wait, if I bought an Xbox, then all of this stuff's on Game Pass, right? So I don't miss anything. It's like there. And then I also get a whole back catalog of the other games that didn't come to PlayStation before. And I get a whole bunch of third parties as well. Now, this is setting and building up a customer's trust and belief in what you're providing. By providing a good product to where customers are, you can influence where they will go in the future because you have proven and shown that you are delivering good products on a continuous basis. Now, that's the tough part, is that you got to keep doing that. And I don't really put it on anybody for not believing Microsoft can do this. You know, like everybody has their thoughts and opinions on it. I think they're reasonably good. They try to do a good job. And I think that's a fair call. So I have just rattled on about that, trying to get this thought out of my head that, yeah, has probably spent the last couple of days just stewing a bit. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go back to killing demons. Because that, Jesus Christ, 17 seconds. I guess I won't do that then. Let's have a look quickly at Season's Blessings. All right, Obusites. XP for monster kills. Yeah, let's do that. All right. Okay. Oh, for fuck's sake. DJ Fart Blaster, I don't know if you're still watching, but my God, what is with the second last tier of the fucking season journey, man? Like getting the standing with the Coven to rank 20. Have you seen how many Grim Favors you have to pull together? It's like 1,800 per hit. No, ain't nobody got time like that. Identity level. um, and craft 10 occult gems. I would fucking love it if goddamn skull would drop for me to be able to craft more of these fucking gems. But they don't. They don't like dropping it all, ever. Because here's a secret thing that other people need to know. DJ Fart Blaster owns the gods of RNG. And yes, you're right. It is like, here we go again. But yeah, DJ Fart Blaster, he owns the gods of RNG. He's able to get rolls that I have never seen before on so many things in Diablo. In Diablo 3, he was Wombats has said that like she she looked at it and just been like, motherfucker, like I've been looking for this thing. I've been waiting for it to drop for like 3 weeks, and then I head into a rift with Fart Blaster, and it's the first item that drops for him. And he's just like, I'm sorry. It's disgusting. It's funny, but it's occasionally disgusting. Just to see how the gods love you so. Why can't they love? Actually, no. Beeves, I will say the gods do love me. In that this is what I got. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but that is a 4-starred ancestral unique Mother's Embrace. So all 4 stats on it are starred. That is the first time I have seen it happen. You still haven't seen... I did not see an altar this season up until I was streaming on Monday. DJ Fartblast is saying, oh, holy shit. Yes, the 4-star Mother's Embrace. That dropped for me on Monday while I was streaming. I think like 2 hours in. Probably at the point where I was talking about like the fall of Mesopotamia. It was a very long day, and I just rambled for like 5 hours. If you want something to set you to sleep, give that a listen. Yeah, first time I've seen a 4-starred item. I remember that you got one in one of the seasons a bit back, but I couldn't remember whether it was one of these or one of the, I think they called it Uber Uniques. Because yeah, I remember you had that really amazing one that you like just dropped for you, which I still haven't had one of them drop for me. I've had to, dish out the bickies for it. 50 million gold and... Oh, that's it. The 2-star Uber Unique. That was it. I could not remember what it was. I remember it either being like all the way blown out or that the 2 stars were like incredible stats on it. So, yeah, I am very happy and hopeful that people out there are going to recognize that no matter what, gaming's going to continue, and I'm all for more games, more people, more places, and I still don't have the 5th season for Endero. Okay, so DJ Fart Blaster saying, I also had it in the 5th season. I got 4 Andariels on 7 boss kills, and the friends with me wanted to fly to Australia to murder me. Yes, I've heard what you've mentioned about some of their objections where you've just gotten some absolutely bullshit roles and elements. There have been some points that Wombat's just been like, why do I even bother? Like I should just have DJ just play my character for me so that I could be certain that I'm going to get some great loot. I don't know what it is, but I would normally say that it's just the RNG gods love you more. But then again, I remember how things were when you first started. I think it was when you first started Diablo 3. Yeah. It is a little bit fucking wrong to have that many of the Andariels drop. At that point, you kind of have to stop and go, is is there some dupe bug? You know, oh god, that makes me feel old talking about the old dupe bugs from the Diablo 2 days, I think it was. Yeah, Diablo and Diablo 2, where you jump into a server and somebody would just like be able to grab everything that was in your bags or everything that was on your character and duplicate it and then run out. Then they would report that your character was duping items, which were the items that they duped, dropped on the ground, and then would report you for it and get you. It used to be it was like 2 or 3 days ban on the old BattleNet when they started enforcing things for Diablo 1. Because I remember a friend of mine, like, yeah, I remember from those days being like, oh yeah, like if somebody starts dropping copies of things that you have on your character, like just fucking log out, like just get out of there. They haven't taken it from your bags, or if they have, accept the loss because you don't want your account to get banned. Actually, DJ, how are you finding this season? Away from the obvious season journey, which is a pile of balls and arse, especially for the quantities of products or the quantities of things they're wanting us to collect just to be able to get through the season of Witchcraft stuff. How are you finding it? Is it actually enjoyable, or are you finding it has the same issues that most seasons do in what you've said before, where it's fun, you can get through things, but it almost seems a bit tiresome? I'd be interested to know your thoughts, because I will say the powers are very interesting, and it's cool that they've changed everything up in that manner. But it almost seems a bit weird how they've done it. Oh, sorry, there was just a weird rumble in the room, and I hadn't realized that the air conditioner had switched on. So it just sounded like there was a rather large bear just idling outside the room. Okay, I don't hate, DJ Fartblaster says, I don't hate the season journey, but it's going to be a slog. The altars being so rare seems silly. The witch powers are fun added dynamic. I'll be sad to see them go. I was going to say, considering how they're a good little addition, do you think that there's the possibility that they may introduce this into the standard power curve after the season ends? Similar to what Blizzard did with the Season of Blood powers, like the Necromancer. The Necromancer's got that unique ring that then activates all of your corpse abilities every X amount of seconds. Like, do you think that there's maybe the possibility that, yes, may change some of them into aspects? That's what I was thinking. I would be interested to see if they do, because I have to admit some of them are fun, and the idea of having the old style auras, because right now the only real character with a specific aura, I think, is the Necromancer, I think. Or specifically is one that I think of is generally the Necromancer has those auras. But it'd almost be kind of good, like, if they were to bring it into the skill tree or something, where instead of having an active usable attack or skill, much like the Necromancers sacrificing 1 or 2 skills to be able to have the skeletons and golems, it would be cool if some of these skills, in a sense, then had that optional capacity where you could maybe have a passive that would allow you to do just some damage, maybe not, maybe add something that then creates a little bit more capacity for some of your other skills. Okay, so DJ Fart Bluster has said, I actually think it would be cool to keep the powers in from each season, but you have to choose just one power set. Is be actively a vampire or a witch. See, that would be a great, I think that would be a great addition to it, because then it also creates potential viability for people to have more build variety, because it still seems like every season ends up being a, well, is the meta still to be a frozen orb sorceress, which every season ends up being the most high powered sorcerer build is a frost orb sorceress. And hey, don't get me wrong, I love a frosty witch as much as the next guy. It sounds a little bit sus. But at the same time, it would be nice to potentially see a lot more variety come out of these things. Like a Frost Orb Sorceress hasn't changed since Diablo 4 Standard. And it's DJ Fartblast is saying it can be a bit sad when the same build stays meta. And yeah, it just ends up being a tough one, because I still use the Incinerate Sorceress that Wombats basically bullshitted together by looking at the things I had in my bags and going, hey, well, this aspect and this piece of gear that you've got, those two things would work really well together. Why not use them? And this was I think I spoke about it on Monday. Like, that was a week or two before the Incinerate builds hit the meta for Sorceress in the Season of Loot. So I went there. I went onto the Diablo 4 subreddit for builds to see what the meta was for a Sorceress, because I was like, I like my Incinerate Sorceress, but hey, let's see what other options are out there, what people are doing. And one of the top builds out there is the very build that I'm running that I didn't get from them. I just got from Beck or from Wombats, looking at something and just being like, you know what, I can do better. Not really. It was just a case of she was able to identify a great synergy between particular pieces of gear and some aspects, and it turned out to be wonderful. Like, I'm still using it now. I still use it to this day, and I love my Flame Witch. But it does kind of suck on occasion that the only thing that really does better or potentially like higher end runs is the same build that did 2, 3, 4 seasons ago. It just means, okay, well, I need specific gear to drop, or I need specific rolls to be able to make that happen. But I will agree. I enjoy each one of these seasons where there's a power or a twist, something that allows you to have a little bit different of a potential play style. I really enjoy it. It gives it a little bit of something that enables you to just go, well, you know, I have something else to play with, where you can kind of experiment and change up, try a few different things. And I think that's key when it comes to especially a live service game, or a game where, you know, it is the same game. Like, the game doesn't change at all, but how you approach it, how you can attempt the content, how you can enjoy engaging with the builds and systems, when that has little tweaks and changes, that can still be as good as a brand new game. Okay, so DJ Fart Blaster has said, I've found the frustrating part is when endgame bosses and high-level pits are only doable with one specific build on a class. I do like that they have added the build armory, but it feels kind of pointless if I have one viable build for endgame. That no, by all means, paragraph away, good sir. I would say if you're up for a chat, just jump into the Discord. But by the same token, I know you're probably chilling out and just relaxing on the couch. But yeah, having one viable build to be able to tackle the most high-end content, especially even with the seasonal journey challenge of always killing Uber Lilith. Actually, I haven't checked. Does this season have an Uber Lilith kill? Let's find out. I'm sure nobody's going to attack me. Famous last fucking words, especially for the squishy mage. Oh, fucking Wisp, get back here. Get back here, you little shit. Like, still to this day, you don't believe it does? Okay, I'll double check that. I'm shocked because I thought most of the seasons have generally had like, oh yeah, you need to kill Uber Lilith. It's like, motherfucker, I still haven't killed Uber Lilith on my just straight off the bat sorceress in the Eternal Realm. And I think I've got a shitload more Paragon for them than I do even on this character. And if I can't kill Uber Lilith when I've got, you know, the Uber uniques, you can get a spark from it, which is worth it if you can do it. God damn it. You might have brought up a really good point, because I do want another Uber unique to be able to put on my standard sorcerer on the Eternal Realm. God damn it. DJ, I might need your help in trying to finish out the season journey. You just signed yourself up for some Diablo duty, sir. But actually, with that, I don't know. I don't know how many people are still here or kind of chatting away. I'm wondering, is anybody actively playing Destiny 2 or has gone back to it in the last couple of months since the final?
I'm in danger.
I'm not in danger. I'm perfectly alive. Thank you for that, DJ Fart Blaster. I appreciate that. I haven't, like, just chatting in some of the Discords that I'm part of, I'm yet to hear of anybody actually jumping in or continuing to play Destiny 2. And I have my own issues with Destiny 2. Like, I don't denigrate or speak down to anybody. If they love playing it, then fucking awesome. Yes, actually, that's probably a very good point. Attempting Uber Lilith. I'll stream it if we're gonna do it, and it'll just be like, oh, that would be perfect for the push-up challenge. Every time I die, I have to do 10 push-ups. If I die again within 5 minutes, then I have to do 15 and 20. It goes up by 5 every single time. So if you want to see me suffer, you can help me suffer. That actually might be perfect. That might be a perfect way to actually have some fun with it. go. All right. Yeah, I will have to set up the I'll have to set up the other camera to capture the space out there, and I'll do that at some point if we get up to there. He died on his 2,164th push-up. Yes, I probably will. Like, I have weak little man arms. I may be a sheet metal worker, but don't take that to mean that I'm actually that great or that physically capable. Uh, it is one of those points of people go, oh well, you know, you're a welder, you're a man's man, you're going to be able to do any sort of stuff like that. It's like, no, I just understand leverage. I understand leverage. I understand how to pick up things and not hurt myself. That's the only thing I do. Now I am very much interested. Although tell me if I'm wrong, DJ. Do you think that we could kill Uber Lilith on our Eternal characters? Our characters that have like a shitload of Paragon? Because I'm thinking, even if I can't do it for the season, if I could do it and get the achievement, then I'd be pretty happy with that. Oh, shit. I didn't realize that I had that. I think, so OMG Turtle said, I think you should F around and find out. See, I'm up for that. It's never a case of I can make the best decisions. I don't. But I like it at least going, it's stupid to do this, right? And having people go, yeah, but why the fuck not? That's as good a reason as any. If other people are able to recognize that this may not be the best decision, it doesn't mean it's a bad decision. It just means that other people agree, yeah, probably, like, you're probably going to suffer for it, but hey, let's find out. So I think that is... Okay, so DJ says, so maybe, but a lot of the characters I've done it with had balked builds and that have been nerfed, but it's probably doable. I will take probably doable. I think that is at least worth a shot, or at least bashing. It can't be any worse than trying to beat Melania in the Halig Tree. I think I spent almost 8 hours on that fight. But I also got through it without cheesing her. So I was kind of like really stoked. Like sometimes a good bat, like applying your head to a concrete wall, if you're smacking it in with so much anger every time that you're failing to break through it, you're just going to get frustrated and get a really sore head. But I find that if you do it where you go whack and go ow, maybe if I did that a little flatter so that it hits here and not here, whack, okay, that hurt a little bit less, but I'm still feeling concussed. You're actually getting somewhere with it. But by the same token, I also just love the idea of giving it a shot. Like, because I know that DJ's just good. He would probably be playing with me. He'd be on Discord. We'd be talking through it and nattering away as we normally do. And then we die, and I'm going to go, fuck. And he's going to laugh as he looks at his second screen and watches the stream as I unplug my headset, hit the button to change to that camera, walk around, and have to do the push-ups. Okay, so DJ Fireblaster says, it's not like a fight in a good Souls where dying will teach you what you did wrong. It's more like classic Ninja Gaiden where the game is like, oh, you beat my first phase? Fuck you! Yes. Yes, it is. Oh, DJ, did you see the developer direct? Did you see that Ninja Gaiden Black 2 was put onto Game Pass? Please tell me you saw it, because I know that the first Ninja Gaiden is an absolute favorite of yours. I hope that you saw that Ninja Gaiden 2. I did. Yeah, excellent, excellent. Please, if you are playing it, how do you find it? Like, I'm not a big Ninja Gaiden person. DJ Fart Blaster is. Like, I remember when we met many years ago now. One of the first kind of conversations that we had in this forum where we met, when we met in real life, we were talking classic Xbox games because this was 2008. Yes, it was the end of 2008 when we met for the first time. So this was well past the original Xbox, but we spent like an hour and a half talking about the first Ninja Gaiden. And because it was one of those games that absolutely spanked me red raw. And I'm looking at this guy who's like, no, I fucking love it. It's like the game is difficult, fun, and it was, you know, those moments where you meet somebody and you just click because there's a certain level of frustration or an experience that you've had where you go, oh shit, we've had like you've both got the 500-yard stare or the 1,000-yard stare, and you look at one another and you like instantly know, and you're like, you've beaten Ninja Gaiden on the hardest difficulty. And you kind of, you can identify one another from the stare. It's scary on occasion. So yeah, DJ Fart Blaster, great guy, loves his Ninja Gaiden. You haven't played it yet. I'm terrified that I need the reaction of an able-bodied, cocky young shit version of me. I booted it up on PC. The thing I would say is yes, I know that you would be frustrated in playing it and not having the reaction time of the cocky young shit version of yourself. However, like the improvements, the version that it is, even though it's a black, like it's Ninja Gaiden black, so it tends to be the kind of improved and director's cut version of the Ninja Gaiden games. It is based off Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma, which has a little less. It has an adjusted and reduced. What is it? It's the enemy spawn rate has been modified downwards from the original Ninja Gaiden 2 release. So some purists are like, nope, it's not the. Jesus Christ. I got squished the fuck out. So it has the reductions to it that a lot of purists are like, nope, fuck that. It's not proper Ninja Gaiden. It's not black. It's not based off the original. Thereby, it's not real Ninja Gaiden. To that, I say phooey. Ninja Gaiden is and always will be as hard as you make it. They have changed up the difficulties a little bit so that easy is a touch easier than a lot of people would remember in comparison to the original Ninja Gaiden 2 release. But the kind of options in the... I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. The options and everything, like easy just takes that edge off enough where you can start to get that timing down, where you're then able to kind of... like it's getting that muscle memory back. I know even for our current gnarled versions of ourselves that we are. Whoop. Oh, a lot of lag there, Jesus. I know that if you were to start Ninja Gaiden 2 Black and start on easy just to kind of bring yourself back into that particular rhythm and groove, I think you would find yourself getting back into it pretty quickly. Like, I think you'd find your rhythm again pretty well. I have faith. Um, so yeah, it would be interesting if you do start playing it. Let me know what you think. I would be very interested because, like, yeah, I remember that it was. I think in that when you and I first spoke about Ninja Gaiden, that yeah, I had never played two, but you had, and I remember yeah us talking about it. So if you do play it, please keep me in the loop. Let me know what you think. Because a few people I know have played it and really enjoyed it, saying that it feels good to play a Ninja Gaiden again. What is happening with the lag here? I keep jumping back about 6 to 8 feet. Run on the horse. That will save me. All right, seems okay now. Okay, I'm getting over here to do this thing, kill these people, and then reading DJ Fartblaster's message, which is, I still forever love the tutorial level of the first game that had a boss fight that was an absolute bastard and essentially acted as a if you don't like this, stop here. See, I think that was I remember Itagaki, the former head and director of Team Ninja, speaking about the building of the original Ninja Gaiden, where they wanted to have a game that respected the challenge and didn't want to have customers feel as if everything was modernized so much that there would never be that feeling of the same original Ninja Gaiden from the arcades, where it was tough. It was like pixel platform, like pixel perfect platform jumping, and the timing on movements to avoid enemy attacks and bosses and everything. Like, it is essentially very hard to replicate how hard games were back in an era when a game cost 25 cents to play, or like for Americans, like loading quarters or nickels into a machine to be able to play something, when every life, every attempt had a particular cost. Because obviously back then they would make games fair, but they were always generally just that little bit aimed towards the customer having to really build up skill by spending money and playing, like spending time playing, for them to then earn the right to see the further levels and build up that experience, because it was all about extracting money. Like, the idea of these arcade machines was that the games were tough so that people would spend more time playing, because it was the original microtransaction. Every attempt, like, could you imagine that if you died in Destiny during a raid, that there was a microtransaction for $1.29 to respawn? That's ultimately what arcade games were. And Ninja Gaiden was terrible for it. I remember, like, I think I played Ninja Gaiden, I think it was 1990? I think. Jeez. DJ Fartblaster says, don't give Sony ideas. Well, yeah, on that, I don't know if you've seen it. It was announced at about just after midday our time, didgeridoo time, that Sony headquarters has the former CEO of Sony Corp, has stepped down from his position, and he has handed over he's handed over Sony Corp to Hiroki Totoki, who was the CFO and was also the acting CEO of SIE for a period of time after Jim Ryan retired. He is now the overall CEO and president of Sony Corp. And the and SIE was then being co-managed, owned by the former head of hardware for SIE, Ninoshi, I think his name is. He actually worked. He worked on PlayStation. I believe he worked on the PlayStation 2 as an early engineer. Worked on the PlayStation 3 with Ken Kutaragi as a very young engineer, but helped, I believe, in the work between Sony and the Cell Corporation Group, which was Sony, Toshiba, and IBM, in developing the Cell architecture. Then was one of the head guys for the PlayStation 4 and working with Mark Cerny, and was also like oversight for Mark Cerny in development of the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro, PlayStation Portal, PlayStation Portal, PSVR, PSVR 2, and PS5 Pro. So this guy leading Sony right now, or leading SIE now as a single CEO, he's old guard for OMG Turtles in the YouTube chat saying they got sick of Herman Hulse constantly pitching Horizon games. You might not be wrong there to a degree. There is something I can say with a small amount of confidence just in business dealings and people I know dealing with Japanese-led corporations, is that you, not in the sense of the old samurai honor, you fall on your sword, but if you cost the company money, you either have to have the plan to be able to get that. There's the tiniest bit of truth. Yes, there is, to a degree. And that's what I was about to go on to, is that it's not the adage of, you fall on your sword and you take the hit because you fucked up. There is always forgiveness for fucking up if you're able to make that money back. But there's a certain level of fuck up that you can do. Hold on. Hold on. I've just had an auto mod message saying held a message for reasons, sex-based term, expired and not posted to chat. So it didn't bring up for me to be able to approve or disapprove of this. But DJ Fartblaster said the dildo of boss fights rarely appears lubed in Ninja Gaiden. I am sorry that I missed that and I did not give it the tick of approval, because that should have gone to chat. That should have gone to chat. Fuck you, auto mod. I'm going to have to change everything about auto mod so that, if I lose my Twitch account because of a terms of service bullshit on a comment like that, I will wear that. I will happily accept the complete OMG Turtles in the YouTube chat saying hashtag free the dildos. I will wear a Twitch ban easily and happily. I will wear it on my head like a fucking bad dragon dildo, like a cock unicorn. I will wear that if I get banned for allowing comments like that, because I would rather have that sort of stuff in here. Like, hell, I've already got this thing set up that it's meant to be like people who are over the age of 15 years and older. If somebody If somebody over the age of 15 cannot handle the statement of the dildo of boss fights rarely appears lubed in Ninja Gaiden, then one, it's obvious that they haven't played Ninja Gaiden. Two, they're learning an important lesson, which is all dildos should be lubed. Like, don't tackle these things dry. DJ Fartblast is saying, I'm going to YouTube. They'll let me say dicks. Oh, no. I think he actually said dildo, but it it actually censored it. So it's D hashtag $ at and symbol and exclamation mark. This is bullshit. Yeah, YouTube, free the nipple. Well, I don't know how nipple came into it, but I always just think you censored it yourself. Oh, okay, I thought that was Twitch kind of stepping in again and being like, man, fuck this shit. If they start really knocking it back like that's where I'd be like, nah, fuck this. Burning the Twitch account, burn and salt the earth. Plus +4 to firewall, fuck that. Oh, my favorite unique sword that I keep getting that is just shit. Azura's Wrath. And off it gets scrapped. OMG Turtle saying, it's all those pesky Amish in these chats ruining our fun. Maybe it's just the morbid curiosity for me. But I would fucking love to see Amish or Mennonites or people who don't engage with the internet culture. Bubby Kai has just stepped into the YouTube chat. That's a good lesson. My dildo shouldn't be like the damn Sahara when I ram it in me. Yes. Dildos should always be lubed. Like, you need to, like, all fun, but you got to look after yourself. Like, dry tearing a butt in twain is not an experience that any person should be dealing with, should be inflicting upon anybody, and it's just a generally good thing. If something's going in you, around you, you want lubrication. Have a fucking drink. Have some lube on hand. Like, I still love it to this day. It's one of my favorite things that DJ has ever sent me. Amazon. I think DJ knows exactly what Amazon review I'm going to. Okay, so when you start laughing at the thing before you've even gotten to it, you know that you're generally going to have a lot of fun. Fucking micro tears killing me right now from Bubby Kai. Yes, the micro tears. That's the thing. It can. It's the small tears that build up over time. It's the scar tissue that will ruin you, ruins your elasticity. So one of my so one of the oh man, they've gotten rid of them. It's DJ. I think you know which review, which page I'm talking about. The 44-gallon drum of lube. DJ Fartblast is saying ass like a tradie's palms. If you've ever shaken the hand of a plumber or a builder, like, they've got hands like vices, but at the same time, they don't need sandpaper. Like, they just walk up to a piece of like fresh cut pine and just rub their palms across it. Like, no splinters will pierce their skin. It's like, there are calluses upon calluses. Like, you probably stab them with a fucking fork and it'd take a good decent bit of pressure to get down to something that's actually flesh. Um, I cannot find it. That this is annoying. The favorite. Okay. Uh, damn it! It's not here. Uh, all right. So OMG Turtles saying that sounds like Bubby needs a training montage. That would be perfect with the yes. Yes, DJ, I am thinking that the drum barrel of lube. If you can find that one that you and I are thinking of specifically, send it my way. I want to read it out. But OMG Turtles, the awkward moment when you realize your audio is coming out of your speakers and also your headphones. Oh, oh no. Turtles, really? So, so you've had like an office of people around you, or people just walking past and hearing this thick Aussie accent, just be like reading out things like "ass like a tradie's palms." Oh, that I'm okay with that. This is about cultural exchange, you know, helping the UK and all of the lovely people there understand how we Australians love to. Oh Jesus! So Bubby Kai. Oh, they heard something thick, and it wasn't just the Aussie accent. He's got a point. It's like a Coke can. It's like this, just solid. So OMG Turtles, we're British. Everyone is too polite to say anything if they heard any of it. Oh, see, that's the thing. British, yes, you're too polite. Aussies will absolutely fucking slam you for it. Okay, I've managed to find the Okay, so these are just some of the reviews of a 55-gallon drum of water-based lubricant from Amazon. And it's something that DJ showed me years ago, and it's still, to this day, one of my favorite things, just for certain reviews that were left like this. 4.0 out of 5 stars. Excellent veterinary applications. October 12th, 2011 by William A. Hooker. As a fertility specialist for pachyderms, this was exactly what we needed to help rebuild elephant populations over sub-Saharan Africa. It's not just all medications and IVF treatments. Sometimes you need a loudspeaker, a Barry White CD, and a 55-gallon drum of lube. Just, I love the way people use the English language to just paint a picture. Like a review like that just gives you a picture of just these veterinary all you need is the Barry White CD from Turtles. Barry White CD, man. That's self-lubrication if I've ever heard it. I love the mental image of just these specialists, like these veterinary specialists, just sitting back and you know and they just stand back watching, like as these elephants kind of trundle towards them with just the low sounds of the Barry White in the distance. It is a simulation, Bubby Kai. Like as soon there seems to be that there's those perfect moments of language where if you really want to just hone in on something to really, it's almost that perfect. How would you put it? The hyperbole of a moment. Like you've got to have that right hyperbole that just kind of pushes it into that little bit further. And it's sub-Sahara. Like it's the best thing possible. Uh, so the product description. What are you going to do with all of this lube? A wrestling match, world's biggest adult party? If you're looking for a simply draw-dropping amount of lube, Passion Natural water-based lubricant is ready to get the fun started with this 55-gallon drum. With its superb formula, you will have a natural feel that will keep you moist longer and also works great with all toy materials. Easily washes away with warm water and mild soap. You may never run out of lube again. Size, 55 gallons. Note, includes pump. Ships via freight due to weight limit. So, oh no, I would happily, oh, fantastic. No, this is brilliant. Thank you very much, Bobby. Send him to session and he uses 55-gallon drum of lube in a Barry White CD correctly. We don't go with Barry White in this household. It's Muse and it's Supermassive Black Hole. That's a good getting sexy song. I am actually going to read this because it's one of those elements that I kind of like seeing, especially when it comes to there we go. It's one of these things of I really love hearing about don't worry about getting me off topic. Like I love kind of going everywhere, but also like this is a back and forth. I like talking with people on these things. And okay, so this is Bubby Kai's comment that he sent to me on the kind of Xbox topic. I like jumping into these things because it helps me understand as well how other people see these, how they see these things. A lot of the time we tend to have our own perspective and views, but a lot more can be discovered if we start to understand where the similarities are in how other people think. You can start to see where certain things line up, and it's the discussion and the dialogue that are a little bit different. There's nuance, and I love jumping into that. So, so how I see things on Xbox is trying to turn the platform from Xbox, the console you need to play XYZ, into Xbox, the video game you play. That is perfect. Like, as soon as you get my headphones fixed, now you switch subjects. Well, I do apologize, but I do love the train of thought derails. You just get to enjoy the derailing occurring live. No proofing, so grammar will be shit. That's okay. I have a mild form of dyslexia, so I cannot read off the page very well. You'll find I'll stumble a lot. So apologies for that. It isn't the writing, it's the performer. It sounds weird, I know, but as an example, it would be not Halo on Xbox anymore, it's Halo on Halo. The vehicle you use to get the game doesn't matter, even if there's more incentives for the vehicle to be an Xbox. If the vehicle is a PlayStation or a Switch, it doesn't matter, they just need for you to be on Halo. That point was brought up by Phil Spencer. Like, it's about the game, not where you play it, it's about the game itself. The more the game sells, the more game is popular, the more potential audience it has, the better success it has, and then that means that there's more likelihood for future. There's growth potential, and there's also the possibility that these games will have a longer life. It is a really good point. Some people think that it means it's now Halo on PlayStation. No, the way I see it is that it is Halo on Halo. It turns the game from just a piece of software on a console into Halo as its own platform. Each game is the platform. That is, I think that is exactly where Xbox is going. That it's also the combination of those 2 points of changing the way that we look at games as a service. It doesn't need to be that every game has a long life that involves multiplayer and so many elements upon elements that involve extra dev time. It can just be about supporting the game and making sure that it's still healthy, that you fix things, that you have continued engagement where people can feel that they can play more, that there's a little quality of life improvements. Those things matter. So going back, the way I frame it is this: why would someone buy a Lenovo who has majority the laptop Lenovo, who has a majority in the laptop market share, versus a Dell, the Surface versus an Asus? At the end of the day, those are just four really big hardware competitors. But from Microsoft's perspective, they're also partners. Very good point. Just like it would be better from a revenue standpoint if you access the games on an Xbox, it would be better from a revenue standpoint if you bought a Surface. Microsoft doesn't care if you choose the Lenovo over the Surface because they both run Windows. That's another key point. Like, the reason Windows is the platform everywhere, that it's the platform that built out PCs to what they are today. The fact that we have things like Steam and Google and Amazon and all of these things are because Windows as the platform gained the ubiquity by being everywhere. It's also the reason why Apple had so many issues in trying to branch out, because the Apple software would only run on Apple devices that were written specifically for Apple code. DJ Fart Blaster with the perfect train of thought derailment. His comment is, sliding into a new topic can be quick and easy when you buy Passion Lube's natural water-based lubricant. That man is fantastic at absolutely derailing everything. So back to Bubby's comments. So translate that into gaming. Xbox won't care if you buy the PlayStation over the Xbox because they both have access to the game, aka the platform in my example. Bubby's saying, man, with a read like that, I might need to cop. I can occasionally turn on the proper voice. I have done some voice acting in my past, but no longer. I also used to sing a lot, but my voice is only now really returning to me because I've quit smoking. So the vocal cords are now not constantly being scorched. All right, so back into the comment. Because Microsoft doesn't care if they sell the most Surfaces, they can do things with the Surface that is different and possibly innovative. That's a great point. We'll get back to that. So translate that again. The hope I have is that because Xbox doesn't care if they sell the most Xboxes, they can maybe design an Xbox that is different and innovative, that will make the next Xbox more expensive, yes, but from the positive that they don't need to worry about taking losses on the console, it opens the door to more options because they don't need to worry about being the only vehicle to access the platform, aka the game. These are fantastic points, Bubby. Like, I would say for this, like, if you haven't, drop this into the Discord and put it around, because I think you're pretty much dead on with this. It's like, this is the right approach. This is what Phil Spencer and I think Microsoft are preparing. The innovation that you're talking about, part of the designer and engineer in my mind thinks about the large scale production that occurs with innovation like this. There is one thing that I think is possibly the innovation that we will see. Fuck it. I'll just say it here because screw it. Why not? I think the next Xbox console itself is going to be more expensive, yes. Whether it's the $600, $700, $800 US, I don't know. Like, until you know specs, you can't really start to work out the backward steps in what they're offering or what they're doing to be able to work out whether that has no loss or minimal loss. I think the innovation is actually going to be the line between the handheld So their version of an Asus ROG Ally or a Steam Deck or anything else like that is actively going to work with the home console, but not in a Switch format. The one thing that Microsoft have gotten flowers for and has proven to be one of the biggest game changers in how people experience games is quick resume. Now, OMG Turtles with a comment. It is a very smart play and will be a successful one. Would there be any pushback to it if social media didn't exist? I don't think so. I think people would be just accepting. I think it's just minor worries being amplified. I think you have a great point there. If the social media discourse was not as prevalent and not being reported as news, I won't say that only sits on the news, like the general media, but it also does kind of fall onto some of the content creators out there. Like, I try not to follow the ones who just traffic in saying, oh, well, I see these people on Twitter and they're unhappy with this and they're unhappy with that. Like, that isn't really reporting news. That's just reporting people's opinions. And people's opinions are valid. But why do you need to report on someone's opinion when it lines up with your own? Shouldn't you be looking into opinions that challenge your own and see if how that person presents their opinion makes you reconsider your own? You should be challenged, not just finding in the echo chamber. But again, I have a feeling that the biggest step in hardware innovation that Sarah Bond is talking about is a handheld that matches with a home console. But instead of having something as simple as the quick resume function, if you had quick resume on a native handheld Xbox shaped like a ROG Ally, now say you had, I'm quickly going to do this so that I don't ruin my game, but here's my very specific point. This is the Xbox storage card, 1 terabyte. Actually, I think that, Jesus Christ, that's hot. And yeah, nerve damage. I can't feel it. So this is absolutely like steaming hot, and I can't feel it in my hands. So here, watch as my my completely nerve shot hands hold something that should be burning it. No, not really. Like, heat dissipates pretty quickly on these things. So this has the same storage bandwidth as the SSD inside a Series X. This can hold, or could have, a quick resume game state saved to it. This could fit into a Steam Deck style handheld. A native Xbox handheld with this in it, you could be playing a game on the train, home from work. You just hit the save state. Your save state saves to this. You then take this and plug it into your Xbox console, and that save state opens up on your Xbox console, because all it is the game has saved that specific state. Once that state is saved, you can close down the game. You can hit the menu button and close the game. But as long as that quick resume point is saved, that flash is saved here, you might be able to have an OS system that allows you to plug this into another console where that game is installed. Or if it's installed on this card, you save the save state and the game on this, plug it into the console, and you continue playing the same game you were playing on the handheld on your home console. Or maybe you don't even need this. Wi-Fi protocols are pretty damn fast out there. And if you use something like the native Microsoft written Wi-Fi protocols that are out there, their own particular brand of it, you might be able to bridge things out to a point where when you come home, if you have an Xbox home console, a Series X2 or Series S2, whatever it may be, but you've got the handheld, you could potentially go send my save state to the console. That you get home and you're able to send it to your home console, put your put your handheld onto the dock, or put it into a charger, and go send it to the console. Turns on your home console, transfers the save state over so that you can keep playing on your TV, potentially even to your PC. There are 100 different ways. OMG Turtles did chat in saying, "Isn't it funny that everything is circular? It's like we took 20 years off from memory cards, and then bought them back. Same happening with streaming services." Yeah, it's the simplicity of ideas. In that there are some elements where you can improve upon an idea, but it takes a bit more of the time and research in the background to kind of come back to it and go, have we really tapped this out to where potential is for it? I think the technical innovation is going to be that there will be obvious AI upscaling systems. There'll be FPS interpolators where you can inject frames into a game that runs at 30 and now it looks at 60. You can do things like NVIDIA Reflex, and there's an AMD version of it as well that runs on the ROG Ally. It's pretty good. There's a whole bunch of AI stuff that can be done in there, but I think the technical innovation that Bobby brought up, like, you have innovation potential, which Phil Spencer spoke about in the 2 interviews with Destin Liguri and with Gamertag Radio. Innovation and trying to differentiate the hardware is how he's looking at the future of it, to be able to offer something just different, something that gives you a different experience, a different level of experience, a different offering, rather than the same as what the other guys have, but green instead of blue or red instead of blue. Those changes involve making sure that you're offering something that changes the way people engage. Changing the way people engage is that right now I can't play Diablo because it's not on xCloud, but for Wild Frost and Slay the Spire, both of those games are in Game Pass. They're both available on cloud. They're both available on PC. DJ Fartblast is saying, technical innovation that makes life easier, always fighting profit squeezing and shitification. I didn't think that shitification was a word, but Beef spelt it and I was able to pronounce it correctly. So let's consider that a new word for Oxford's English language 2025. Let's get right on submitting that, guys. There's also the point that when we think about it, what was the last innovation that we saw in gaming that was about the hardware level offerings? Like, let's step all the way back and look at it with kind of clear vision. Kinect was the last offering of a device that changed the way that people engage with the system. That, okay, we all know the memes, we all know the laughs about it, but the idea of Xbox TV on. I enjoyed Kinect for being able to, like, at that point I was smoking. So whenever Wombats would be like, it's already 2024 Macquarie's Dictionary Word of the Year. God damn it. I'm always late to these new words in the dictionary. I suppose that being slightly dyslexic will do that to you. Uh, um, when wombats would be like, "Hey, taking the dogs outside, you want to go and have a smoke?" It'd be like, "Yeah, Xbox, go home." And the game I was playing would go back to the dashboard, and it would chill there until I came back in, and as I'm walking back in and walking around the couch, I'd be like, Xbox play Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and it would open back up into the game that I was playing. So it was just like going back to home and then going straight back into the game. So by the time I've picked up the controller, the game's already back in, and I'm just continuing on. OMG Turtles with Connect was awesome. I just didn't have enough uses for Connect in my day-to-day life. Not enough opportunities to be naturally integrated into the technology either. I agree. It is one of those. A lot of people point out that Microsoft have always generally been ahead of the curve and at places where people do not realize that what they're doing is going to be the way forward. But I think there is actually Major Nelson spoke about it a few years ago. I think it was at 2019 E3. He sat down with Tim Geddes and Greg Miller at E3, like a couple of hours before he left to go back to Redmond, and was talking to them about some of the elements. Like Greg was saying, like, you and I have spoken about how much I love State of Decay 1 and all of these things. Why do you feel that Microsoft don't get a fair go when you guys are investing in all of these studios? You just announced that you're acquiring Double Fine Games and letting them do whatever they want. You've got great, you've got games coming out. You've announced all of these things. Why is it that you're not getting a fair take? And Major Nelson specifically pointed on that everybody thinks Xbox, but they think Microsoft. But for the larger world, whenever you think Microsoft, you think Windows, you think Office, you think I'm at work, I'm dealing with emails, I'm looking at Outlook, I am dealing with this, it is, yeah. OMG Turtles, I think what stopped me thinking it of as an innovation and more as a gimmick. It was great, but it didn't make you think about gaming differently. It was a bit on the side instead of being part of the main meal. I could not have said that any better. You're absolutely right. I think also for it to become part of the main meal, developers really needed to be given opportunities and enabled to come forward and go, I want to try this really fucking weird idea. And like last year, there was a game released called Before Your Eyes. I believe it was put onto PlayStation VR, VR2. It was on MetaQuest and everything else, but it was a game where it worked on the idea of every time you blinked, that it would every time you blinked, time would skip forward, and you were seeing somebody's life flash before their eyes. Every time they blinked, it was a year ahead in their life, and you are seeing some incredibly emotional moments where somebody is passing away, like somebody that you've built a relationship and connected with. They are passing away. If they're leaving you, if the moment you blink, they are gone and you will never see them again. And it built an emotional connection. That is a game that could have been on Connect back in 2013. The technology was there, but the developers weren't ever given the money to be able to try these sorts of things. and development was still so very fucking expensive back then that it's only now where indie studios can kind of get dev kits and try things like this with a smaller cost, a smaller development pipeline, that they're able to push in these directions. OMG Turtles, I think that's what's different about this push. 2025 Xbox feels like they're innovating instead of creating gimmicks. Yes, very true. I think that's going to be the thing to tell later in the year. And DJ Fartblaster, Kinect was so technologically ahead, but also so fascinating. Its technology has been rigged on so many wild things because it's so powerful at IR mapping. For example, they used it to translate sign language and detailed 3D scanning objects. Actually, even in my own realm in fabrication and manufacturing, when COVID hit, there's a particular style of thermal imaging camera called a FLIR camera, FLIR. They are one of the world's best at thermal imaging cameras. Obviously, with COVID, because people would have a slightly highly elevated standing body temperature, where instead of approximately 36 to 37.5 degrees, that would be roughly half to a full degree warmer or colder, dependent on where they were in particular stages of COVID infection. And it was one of those early warning points. So FLIR cameras were being installed everywhere. Like, I was busy. Like, people said that they were at home, chilling out, trying to get through work from home. I wasn't. I was working in security, and we worked every fucking day because people were installing cameras and mounting systems and everything else. We were busy, and it was just two of us. One of the things that occurred for some of the mounting systems that went out there was that they only had a certain amount of these thermal imaging cameras that people could get their hands on. So what they needed to do was they'd set up the thermal imaging cameras so that they caught a wide field of view, but they needed to be able to make sure that they were able to map and capture people across an even wider field of view to make sure that if people were outside that field of view for the cameras to be able to pick up on their body temperature, they still had a listing and a mapping for where that person's directional movement was. So one of the other cameras down the line could pick them up. If they didn't get picked up by the first set of cameras or the second set of cameras, once they're past that point, the security systems would be able to indicate and send a message down to the guards on the floor to be able to direct those people towards the final set of cameras so that they would get picked up and have their temperature read to see if they were safe. This was for some sites where there was a certain level of security, and they couldn't purchase enough IR mapping cameras that were able to easily plug into a Windows driver system because these things were being jury-rigged on the fly. This is May of 2020. So we are talking very, very early into COVID. And these things are having to be installed in high security sites. They're having to be installed in airports, for customs, everything else. Kinect cameras were the best, cheapest, and most available option. So if you go into any of the major airports across Europe and across America, you will actually see that there is a large amount of Microsoft Kinect cameras, as in Xbox One series Kinect cameras, because they have I believe it's a three to four camera sensor. 2 for the IR, 1 for RGB, and 1 for depth. And they use those cameras to be able to tell the depth of someone moving. They can also do estimations of height. It's incredible stuff. But that innovation is, fantastic. I also remember DJ Fartblaster telling me that there was a group who was helping blind people work on translating and using Kinect cameras to be able to do live transcriptions for people who were seeing impaired. it of course, when he brought it up, we were doing a podcast at the time with a friend of ours, Corsel, who he kind of simplified it down to, so what, you're just wearing these glasses and you're walking around and you just hear this voice go, "You see dog," which is a very crass simplification. But then it finally got to where the technology ended up, which was him going from that very simple idea to then going, wait, so it could pick up, like, the bus comes through and it has a QR code, and this camera could pick it up and be like, this is the 656 bus to Brisbane City Express. Before the bus arrives, the camera is able to see that far, determine that, say it, so that the person can then indicate and go, yes, this is the bus I need. It's incredible stuff, but that sort of innovation is, I think, one, Bubby, you are dead on about this. Like, the innovation is where I think the future is going to be, and I think that's where Sony can't follow. Because that sort of innovation then requires a platform ubiquity that I don't think they're prepared to offer across multiple levels of hardware, because then that's going to involve setting a standard across hardware, but right now they're not able to perform at that level because they've tried. Just in this generation, you've had the PlayStation 5, you've then got the Slim, you've then got the Pro, you've got the Portal, and you've got VR2. The pricing for the PlayStation 5 and Slim and the PlayStation 5 Pro are higher than they really should be, but also not offering anything more than what they are as a standard. The Portal seems to be selling well, but VR2, when you hear of a manufacturing line getting stopped, that's a very bad thing when it comes to a consumer electronic. If you are hearing that the manufacturing line is being stopped, if you don't hear that they are phasing out that product before that statement, that is a very bad sign. That generally means that they've been manufacturing these at, say, 50,000 a month, every month for a period of time, and that they have enough in storage to be able to fulfill customer orders that they've had already placed and sold over that entire production time. If you have been producing units ongoing over months, and you just start at 50,000 units a month, then as the process and the parts get better, you will increase your speed and capacity. Those processes improve over time. So you'll go from 50,000 a month, and then potentially 2-3 months down the line, you're hitting 70 or 75,000 a month, because you're going, everybody on the line knows what they're doing. The machines are working better. We've improved this process. OMG Total saying, I wonder how much publishers are rooting for Microsoft to pull this off. I think a lot of them would be. Being honest, I know a few indie developers, and in kind of chatting with them, quite a few of them have said that they're kind of on board with it. Primarily as well because for some of them, the development that they do, if they're able to make a version for, say, an Xbox platform, so it's the Xbox Series X, Series S version, but then they also get a PC store version in there. That PC store version would obviously be built off of what they release to Steam. So then you've got Steam, you've got Windows Store, you've got Xbox console, and you've got cloud, and potentially handheld. So you've got 5 potential platforms with one release. Now, your PlayStation platform is different, but dependent on the engine you use, especially if you're using something like Unity or UE5, you can build a more ubiquitous central version and then branch off of that with a lot less kind of back and forth. It's then more kind of fine tuning and um, you know, more of the fine tuning and bug fixing work to get specific things performant on that particular platform. Those sorts of advantages are going to then help. But if one central PC version can then hit across cloud, console, and PC and still give you a Steam PC version, and you've got all these platforms kind of in one hit, that's a lot less cost spent, and you're still getting all of these platforms dealt with. And then you also have the advantage of if you're putting something interesting out there, or potentially you've reached out to Microsoft, you could potentially get a Game Pass bag out of that as well, where Game Pass are then going to go, we're going to pay you the dev costs for this game, so you're at dev cost zero. Every copy you sell past this point is profit for you and your publisher, or that a large chunk of that potential earn back is mitigated. That's a great position to be in. And if it's going to the platform that is considered the smallest, like the place where you're going to sell the least units regardless, but you're getting a nice chunk of money from them, makes sense to kind of send that there. And for most of the deals, most of the Game Pass deals, it's not about exclusive to Xbox for a third party. It's about it releases day one on Game Pass, but it doesn't stop you from releasing on PlayStation or Switch or PC at the same time. I think Microsoft are also pivoting to a point of being like a publisher back in the early 2000s. Remember, EA used to publish games by everyone else. It's exactly what my from Bubby Kai. It's exactly what my last two sentences allude to. There's so much possibility of what's getting people riled up is the unknown. I find excitement in that, but I get that for many, unknown equals bad. Yes, I was going to say, I have read your last two sentences here, which I'll get to right now. I know the question keeps getting asked, but why should I buy an Xbox if all of the games are going everywhere? I think the answer is still to be seen, and that's really what's got people in a bind. I think the better question to ask is, what do you want out of the console besides exclusive games? Because the games are going everywhere. They've made it this much clear. Bubby, for what you've said, that being a possible future, I think you are dead on. I think that is honestly where my own position is. And that's where I think you pretty much have it in one. OMG Total saying, I'm glad NVIDIA is trying it out first, but if cloud services start charging for how many hours you play or what quality, that'll hinder innovation. That is a very big risk that NVIDIA, right now, I think for the next 5 weeks, any active or new NVIDIA GeForce Now customers, current customers or new customers, are getting the service for free because they're actually changing from a third-party payment system to their own internal payment system for any future charges. So they've said, whatever plan you're on at the moment, it'll continue. If you want to change it around, just change it in your account. We're not going to charge you. We're not going to charge you money, because we're changing the entire charging system. That right now is telling me that after NVIDIA lost $600 million in a moment, and then potentially $6 billion, I think $6 to $60 billion in another further moment from the Deep Blue, I believe it's Deep Blue AI system from China. That system has been talked about little bits and pieces in the background for a few people I know. For it to hit as well as it did, people are trying to poke holes in what they're doing, but I'll be honest, from everyone that I'm talking to, they are looking at it and going, this is an incredibly impressive understanding of how to approach the the AI problem, which is that instead of approaching it as teaching and flowing over that information and having all of those points roll into kind of a central brains trust, it's about making sure that you can teach an algorithm to understand that 1 + 1 = 2, but having that knowledge be a learnt skill as opposed to this is, if you put information into me, I'm looking for an equivalent problem to put this problem against and then use that to determine a solution. It's instead going, this is how you work out the solution yourself, which is why it requires a whole lot less GPU power and a lot less, honestly, a whole lot less chunk. Let's just put it at that. It will hinder innovation a little bit when it comes to charging for a cloud service. I think Microsoft get away with it with xCloud because they're offering it with the larger portfolio of Game Pass Ultimate. So you are getting all of these games and all of these services in PC Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass and all of this. And cloud is like that little bonus on top. You don't feel like you're really paying for it. But if you get a Game Pass Ultimate subscription for your phone, you are paying for it, but you're then also getting cloud access to all of these games that you wouldn't have access to on any other platform. So it then becomes a case of, well, if you've invested enough to have the subscription and you want to play these games, but you don't want to play them on your phone or on cloud, you want a better value, then it creates the value proposition, which is where then you look at it and go, maybe a PC would be a great choice, or maybe one of these handheld consoles, or like a ROG Ally, Steam Deck, or maybe a Series S. Value will drive people's decisions when they see that you are giving them more than they are paying for. What are you getting from, I don't want it to sound like I'm denigrating Sony, but when you're paying $70 US, or say $125 Australian to Sony, you're getting one game. Right now, $125 Australian will get you 6 months of Game Pass. 6 months of Game Pass Ultimate here in Australia. The next 6 months of Game Pass Ultimate is, I have the entire back catalog up to and including Indiana Jones, the new Diablo season. Then I've got all of the games coming out: Avowed, South of Midnight, Doom the Dark Ages, and potentially a whole bunch of other games, all chopped and changed in over that 6 month period. There's then value that by the time those games run out, then they're going to be announcing the next games that are going to be coming out over the next 1.5 years, 2 years, which then puts another 6 months worth of content in front of me of this game's coming out in 2025, this one and this one and this one and this one. It then rolls on. If you keep the value at a consistent level, people are always going to be willing to engage. And I think with what Bobby had said, the games being the platform, dead on. Xbox are just ahead of the curve. They're saying that a game is more important than where you play it, which is the same thing as how so many others would kind of do these things. Like when PUBG came out, you could play PUBG on Xbox or on PC, and then it came out on Xbox, and then it came out on PlayStation. Did that really drive more Xbox console sales? No, because people would go, well, where can I play it? I can play it on this or this or this. People just choose where is comfortable for them. So if you can still sell the game then sell the game, because once you've sold that game, you've then got somebody going, these guys made a great game. What else have they done? Drive people using the thing that they're actually buying from you. Nobody's really buying the console to have the console. They're buying the console to play the games. So I suppose that's kind of like a more subdued ending to it all, but I'm very appreciative of like the back and forth. There's been I've really enjoyed the fact that while there has been amazing train of thought derailments through this, there's actually been quite a lot of like really interesting discussion that I think I'm definitely going to start chewing on a little bit more and potentially start doing in some videos. Because I'm probably going to call it there, because it is heading towards 10 p.m. here in Australia, and I have got to be up at the arse crack of dawn. And Chris Roeda, which is DJ Fart Blaster, has appeared in the YouTube chat to just say, I just moved over so I could say dildos. Uncensored. Oh, Jesus, 3:45 a.m. Dude, what are you doing? I respect the hustle. Everybody shouting dildos. This is fantastic. YouTube's going to love me. The engagement's going to be through the roof. They're going to be like, you need to speak more like you did on your previous stream. And I will go, cool. So we, Bobby, I appreciate that. Bro, this shit got me compelled like a motherfucker. I appreciate that. I like the back and forth on this. OMG Turtles, one day when the suns align, I'd like to jump in on a call and chat about it one day. Use the code XB2 to get 15% off dildos. Shit, now I probably owe Jez and Rand like for $5 for that. I will say if we want to, I'm gonna try and keep some streams, especially on weekends. Like I know that my Saturday here is like a Friday night for the UK. But I'm potentially going to like change up some of those times and elements so that for the US, there's a stream that's towards the afternoon, like after XB2, on a Friday afternoon or Friday afternoon for them, which is a Saturday morning for me. I might actually stream after them just for shits and giggles. I like listening to the show, so I'll listen to the show and then potentially just do a stream after. And it might be a more reasonable time for you, Bubby. And then for Turtles, I might look into where like the UK times kind of roll out, that there might be like a weekend or something where it's a more reasonable time on a weekend, that if you are free and available, I'd love you to jump in and have a chat. Like I've actually got everything set up in this that in a moment, anybody can actually call in on Discord, and I've got the channel already set up through the mixing desk here that I can just bring it in. You can hear me, I can hear you, and it doesn't echo through the stream. Or at least I don't think it does. I'm still yet to test that. But I would like to say thank you. Thank you to Bubby Kai, OMG Turtles, DJ Fart Blaster, and anyone else who is watching this later. Thank you for popping in and considering everything. If you throw a comment in the chat, I will check it out and respond as soon as I have a free moment. Bubby Kai, wee hours, or when my brain is the most alive, I'll be honest, but when the subject matter is good, I will show. I honestly try to talk about what people are wanting to talk about. Even if I don't know something on the subject matter, today, like every day is a good day to learn something. That is perfect time to get dildos on the brain. I think that's most times, if not all the time, because it's just one of those. Why not have fun with life? Dildos on the brain, or dildos. Well, as long as they're not in the brain, that just tends to be penetration to a level that nobody should be doing. It's like one of those moments where you're just scrolling on r/all on Reddit before the adpocalypse happened, where when you used to scroll the front page of Reddit r/all, and it would be and you'd just be scrolling through and be like, oh, funny, cool, interesting. Fucking hell, porn. Don't be thinking about dildos while you're welding. Very dangerous. No, actually, when you've welded for long enough, you could be thinking about anything in the world because it is just you are just running on autopilot. When you get good enough at welding, you're just running the welds. You don't have to worry about a single thing. It is just autopilot, and it is beautiful. You don't even... I'm always welding. Bubby is probably always welding. That would not surprise me. He strikes me as somebody who's probably got a whole bunch of skills that nobody knows about. And one day we're just going to go, what can't you do, Bubby? And he's going to say like 3 things. And you're like, so what can you do? And he's like, everything else but these 3 things. And it's going to be like eating macadamia nuts, driving stick shifts, and piloting a Boeing 737, as he never did his flight qualifications for it. All right, but that is going to be me for the night. Thank you, everybody, for being in the chat, for chatting with the back and forth, and I really appreciate it. I will be back here at approximately this same time on Friday, my evening. However, that is going to be a potential up in the air. We will just have to see. Depends on how much work I get done. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. And if you've got any ideas, suggestions, or bits and pieces, throw them in the comments down below. Thanks, guys. Have a great night, because I am going to go get some fucking sleep. Cheers.